BBC Archive is one of the great national resources of the UK. There's nothing else quite like it.
Hand down. That's all yours,
I don't think there's any nation on the planet that has documented itself and its history and its story through broadcasting in the way that the UK has with the BBC.
It may be just a smear to you, mate, but it's life and death to some call it.
The BBC Archive's at the heart of the BBC. It represents a working, valuable archive that's reused on a daily basis.
It may be as repeats, it may be as clip sales, it may be as programme sales. It's also used as a research tool in its own right, where people can see how programmes were done before, how subjects were covered.
Exterminate! Annihilate! Destroy!
In the early days of broadcasting, I don't think people understood that this was of lasting value at all. I think rightly, perhaps broadcasting was seen as a passing service, it was immediate, and you moved on to the next day's show. And there was probably a transition point, late 60s, early 70s, when it began to dawn on everyone that some of what was being made was of real historic value and significance.
I'm playing all the right notes, but not necessarily in the right order.
The fantastic thing about videotape, as far as the BBC was concerned, was that it could be reused, and it was very expensive to buy each individual tape. So when people say, why was material wiped, or why was it thrown away, there are all kinds of reasons.
Wimble Road has been in the BBC's portfolio since the early 1960s. Information Archives did a great job of making the whole estate work for them. The key reason why we had to get out of there, though, was it was a dilapidated building. There was asbestos roofs, there was holes in the ceilings. There were band-aid solutions to try and correct that and protect the archive.
So it was time to invest properly in a state-of-the-art 21st century home, and that's what Perivale is.
All the medium that are used to keep either audio or TV on have a finite life, and quite a short finite life. So if they're not kept in the optimum conditions, they will deteriorate more quickly.
The Archive Centre at Perivale is a new era for the archive, and it's vitally important for us to store everything in the right climatic controls so that we can actually focus on digitising the archive, not focus on restoring obsolete and degrading formats.
The aim of digitisation is twofold. One is to use it as a method of preservation, particularly for the content which was electronic in the first place, so things like videotape and some of the audio. But most importantly for the user, whether that's a license fee payer or whether it's a program maker, is that it's there to improve the access to the content.
It really will help BBC staff to make better programmes, because if they have digital content effectively at their fingertips, they don't have to wait to order a tape and then get it delivered by a van. Fabric is an end-to-end digital production and archiving system that enables content creators to access content on their desktop. It enables them to save money by using content that's been shot somewhere else, so they don't have to reshoot it. And it's a really, really exciting set of tools and technology that will really revolutionise the way that we work across the BBC.
New programme ideas will emerge, new uses for the archive as the archive's made more accessible through digitisation. I can't necessarily predict what those are, but when you make stuff easily available, easy to manipulate, easy to share, then that's a long, long way from having a piece of 35mm film in a can in a film vault.
Once we've got it in a digital form, that means that we can make it available to our audiences on mobile devices, online, on television, in various different mediums, so that they can really interact with it. And with delivering quality first, there will be a dependency upon the archive, and I think it's our job to make sure that it's available. We can capture capture all the information around it and curate the content so that it's easier to find, and then ultimately it's easier to deliver to our audiences.
Anyone who's in possession of such a precious physical resource, which is what the archive still is, has a duty to look after it properly. In fact, it's written in the Charter that we need to protect these assets. So in the end, although it was a big commitment, creating a bespoke building, state-of-the-art, high-tech, temperature-controlled, that can protect these assets for 10, 20 years or more was exactly the right thing to do. And Perivale is a great symbol of that. It's a symbol of the BBC's commitment to its archive.